Hi everybody, this is going to be a preview and unbox of my real grade Aile Gundam that I've just bought, and I think I've got to talk a little bit about the artwork first of all because I think this is spectacular. I usually like the high grades a lot because it brings that anime style, which is tends to be my favourite kind of box art. With master grades, I never really used to enjoy the CG work that they do, but I know more recently they've been doing more of a painted style. But this CG work I think is absolutely awesome, so I think when you see this on a shelf it does kind of make you want to buy it, so I guess it's doing its job. Quick look around the box. We've got obviously the advanced MS joint, and they really do show it off well here on the box. That's the tray that you get it in, and it's quite interesting how these come off the tray. It's if you've built a perfect grade before, then it's that same kind of style where the things are kind of moulded inside already. That's kind of hard to explain really, but it's things like the ball joints are already socketed in, and I'll show you a bit more as when we come to that. And just like a master grade and perfect grade, you've got opening cockpit and some more details which you seldom see in a kit of this size. And one thing to note about this picture here is, well, what they're showing here is a completely untouched, unpainted rather I should say, and that's just how it comes out of the box, snapped together with the stickers and decals applied. So yeah, you can really see the colour separation there is, well, 100% accurate I would say. I don't think you really need to paint any parts if you don't want to. And this shot impresses me a lot. Now, if you've seen Seed and Seed Destiny, you should recognise this as the opening credits signature pose, as it were. And to achieve that in a kit this small, that's quite impressive. So there you go, a few more shots of around the back and some detail shots. I think this shoulder is quite interesting, that they give you that kind of mount mechanism, because as you know, this is the L strike pack, but it's also got the sword launcher and all the other ones I can't remember off the top of my head. But in theory, I think they're going to be bringing out some extra packs, probably as magazine releases, that you can hook onto that, and that gives you your different strikes. And finally, price of 2,500 yen. Me being in Hong Kong at the moment, I bought this for $275. That's a little bit expensive, and I kind of knew that already. But from my observations, I've seen this being sold around about the 210 mark. So I just thought I'd give you a little price look up there. So that equates to £17.50 in my money from the UK, and there's the other prices. Interesting to note, it equates to about 2,080 yen, which is cheaper than the list price. So let's open this up. And once again, you get the very nice manual, but first let's take a quick look at this. What's different with these is you get this quite unusual, but you get this box which is really high gloss, all printed black, showing off the other grades, which I quite like. So here's the high grade, and well, that kind of looks a bit, I've never really liked this Seed and Seed Destiny high grade kits, but that really does look a bit sort of short and a bit stubby really. And speaking of short and stubby, yeah, needs no explanation for that one. And then around the other side you've got the master grade, which is almost the complete opposite of the high grade, where it's kind of been made to look a bit taller and skinnier than perhaps it should. And then moving on to the perfect grade, well, that really does look good, and very similar to this real grade in proportions, I think. So you can really see it there in the legs, so that's how it looks in the perfect grade. And then the master grade, they tend to make them a lot sort of more elongated and skinny. Alright, let's take a look inside then. Let's go through the manual. Run through the parts list. You've got, just to give you, and this should really give you an idea of how many parts there are in this small size kit. It's definitely nothing like a high grade. So there's the A runner. The B plate is the advanced MS joints. You've got a large C plate, a large D plate, and a D2 plate, a large E plate, a large F plate, and a G plate. And then these poses, I recognise these from the perfect grade box really, and for these to be achieved in a kit that's a third of the size is really quite impressive, I think. So full kneeling pose there, and one of the things that strikes me with this manual is that the use of the extra colour is much appreciated. You've got, you know, normally you don't get that kind of third red colour, but I think in this case there's a lot of, when you cut out, let me see if I can find it, when you cut out the parts of the MS joints, then it's actually quite easy to, as you can see there, it's actually quite easy to either leave a stub still there, or you cut off something that you shouldn't have. So yeah, I think it's quite important that they highlight that for you. And moving on to the arms, and again there's that really cool pose that you can do if you buy a stand. So I don't know how many pages we're into already. Well, I do page 10, but this is already exceeding a standard high grade by this stage. So let's carry on. Now we're getting into the weapons, and finally the actual strike pack. Again, more colour pages, very nice to see. And there's what I was talking about with the extra strike packs that you can get. So I'm sure they'll release these at some point. I know that's for the master grade, it's saying there, but they'll definitely be bringing out some magazine only release packs for this to hook onto the shoulders. And quite a lot of detail actually I'm noticing for the build of this Aile striker pack, and 3 or 4 pages dedicated to it already. And then the last page is going to be your colour guide and your decal placement, of which there are lots. And speaking of the stickers and decals, let's show you those. So here you, let me get this the right way up. So here you've got, on the left hand side, you've got all the caution and warning stickers, and these are kind of a, let's see if I can show you, they're kind of a matte finish, so they don't really show up, they don't really quite wreck your model as much as standard stickers do because of that matte finish. So I think these are probably going to be usable. And then the right hand side tends to be reserved for the metallic, shiny elbow joints and things like that. So really nice to see that they include all this. And the downside, I guess, is that is definitely an evening's worth of work right there. So let's move on to the actual parts. And here is the A plate. And if you've built any Gundam before, you know the A plate is normally always the interesting one with all the colours. But I think you'll find with this kit that that's not. It's not the only nice looking plate, but let's go through. So here you've got the red for the wings of the Aile strike pack, and you can see there that you're getting a lot of detail, lots of panel lines on this, and you've got to remember how small these parts really are. And nice yellow colour separation there. Okay. Moving on to the B plate, and this is the actual joints. So it's kind of like a, those of you who haven't built a perfect grade before, then this plastic is kind of bendy. It's kind of half polycap material, half normal plastic. So it's well, what it means is that, I don't know if, there you go, I think. Let's just try and get my camera to focus a little here. What it means is that you get, like there is the hands with the ball joints already socketed in. And then things like that part there, which is the leg, well, that's already got joints in it, and they don't sort of come into play until you cut them out and start bending them around. But here's a better example. There is the arm. There's the arm with the. Hold on. There's the arm with the elbows already in place. So we're moving on to the C plate now. This is the one where you're going to get the clear parts for the piping around the eyes and the head, as well as probably the scope. Then you get some, as well as the red, you get these maroon parts. Very nice to see the distinction between the red and the maroon here. And what you probably can't see very well on this plate is, well, you get white of course, but this isn't actually on the plate, on this plate. What you're seeing here is a 10% grey colour on this side, and then this side is more like a 20% grey. Now to me, I can see it, it's quite apparent to me, but I'm not sure how well this is coming across on the camera. But what it does mean is when you snap all these together, you're going to get a really nice layered effect with the armour, where it's not all, you know, especially around the legs, it's not all going to be just one monotonous white colour. So yeah, nothing you see on this plate that I'm holding right now is actually white, but that's reserved for the next couple. So this is the one, and we're moving on to the D plate now, so we're already surpassing high grade in terms of the amount of parts you're getting. Now this is the white plate, so this is going to be all the major armour parts for the legs and knees, and you know, just all the outer armour really. And I'll see if I can pick out some detail for you, because I'm noticing a lot of panel lines all over the place that you can really go to town on, you know, with even just a basic Gundam marker, or if you want to do a panel wash and things like that, then it's going to look amazing. So you see there all the little rivets and little There you go, here's a good piece. So we can get that to focus. Yeah, you got a lot of combination of panel lines and sort of indentations and things like that. Really brings out the level of detail on this model kit. Okay, moving on, we've got the D2 plate here. This rounds out all of the white parts. And then a whole E-plate of, well, half an E-plate of red parts. And some solid black parts for the striker pack. And if you look at the detail there, you can really see they must be, I'm not sure what those are. They look like some boost parts for the insides of the Aile striker pack, but you don't normally see that much detail in something this small. Then we've got the F plate, which is kind of a, I would say, kind of, it's not quite black. It's kind of an 80% grey, but these are all going to be the well, that's the gun, which I actually really like the gun on the Strike Gundam, because it's got the scope, which actually looks quite realistic. It doesn't look completely sci-fi. And then the last plate is yet again a different grey. This one's slightly darker than the last plate, but it's still not black. So that means you're going to get 3 kinds of whites, 2 kinds of reds, and 3 kinds of dark grey and black parts. So you're going to get a lot of really interesting colour separation with this real grade kit. So here you can see lots and lots of details. So that's all the parts, and once I get these all put together, I will post another video and we'll see how this one turns out. I'll definitely be painting this guy, and then probably I'll give a go at sticking all these on, but I'm more than likely going to be buying a third-party water slide kit for this, water slide decal sheet for this, and we'll see how it turns out. So until next time, thank you for watching and see you soon. Thank you.